We are live. So it looks, yeah, we're live. A minute early, 30 seconds early, something like that. Something to that effect. That's cool. I missed yesterday. Like, I didn't do it. Not that I missed, you know what I mean? How do I describe it? I missed it like, I was looking forward to doing the stream yesterday, and I was like bummed that I couldn't do it, like missed it like that. I did a very stressful show. For those of you who've been following the story, I played a show yesterday, and I took the show on Thursday morning, Thursday at noon, like, I don't know, 11:30, 11:45, something like that, is when it kind of went into action. And yeah, it was the show was for, where's my OBS thing here? The show was for this here, New Friends Fest, whole bunch of bands. It's a 3-day thing. If we go to info here, we can see the passes. Does it, or maybe it shows that lineup, not helpful. If we go to passes, it'll show us more info. So Friday, you know, all these bands. Saturday, today, right now, all these things. And tomorrow, I'm gonna go tomorrow. I think I have the pass. So and also tomorrow they have this what do you call it, DIY punk merch swap, whatever. I have a whole bunch of merch from the past 10 or 20 years, and I'm gonna go with a bin and be like, who wants merch? I got Aykroyd merch and all that kind of stuff. Some Smile stuff. I don't know if you guys remember the Smile, if anybody knows who I'm talking about. But anyway, I'm gonna go trade a bunch of old merch, give it away if anybody even wants any of it. I don't know, just hang out and go to the show. Crowning is playing tomorrow night. I'd like to see Crowning and others. I believe Page 99 is also playing tomorrow. We can take a look. Where is it? Passes was the more successful way of looking at the lineups. Yeah, Page 99, Massanera. Don't know Massanera. Quiet Fear, know them. Whatchamacallit, Islet, don't know them. Coma Regalia, know that. Crowning, know that. Caddy, don't know it. Record Setter, new to me. A lot of these are new to me, so it might be cool, might be fun. You know, new is always better, because old, I already know old. Not exciting. Maybe that's ridiculous logic. I'm just coiling up these cables here to get them out of my life, because everything is a mess from yesterday. It was a mad dash. But anyway, let's get out of this view here. I got it all turned around. C920. Here we are. Great. So Bandcamp Saturday. Bandless Saturday. I hope you guys had an opportunity to check out some cool releases yesterday. There were quite a few beyond, you know, our little community here. But one of the cool things about the postponement is I found 2 more releases that I wouldn't have included yesterday. So yeah, we get a little bit of a bonus. So that's cool. I see a couple of my dudes in there, a couple of my peoples. Gunky Zip, Ed Sweetman, Dimon, Lamond, Marauder, Road Bull, and Rough Riffs. Good to see you guys. Hope your weekend is going smashing. Here in Canada, we have a 3-day weekend. So Monday is a holiday, civic holiday. It's just like I don't even know if it's like family weekend. I don't know what they call it. Might just be a civic holiday. Happens every year because they don't like to overwork those Canadians. They start complaining. And they're like, I work too much. And don't get to spend time with my family and stuff. I think that's just the case for anybody in this world now because everything's so expensive. You got to work all the time. Take as much as possible. El Pog, I see you in there. How you doing? So yeah, I played this fest yesterday. Big thing. Bands from all around the world. And it was pretty cool. The band we'll kick it off with today with the band that I played with yesterday. Go to desktop bottom right, and that band was Life in Vacuum. And Life in Vacuum, I've known these guys since they were teenagers. They are both from Ukraine. Al Paul, these are your people. The Chorny brothers, Ross and Sasha Chorny, and they're from Ukraine originally, but they've lived here since they were in their late teens, and I've known them since then. They've been playing in this band the whole time. So it was actually kind of amazing to be able to play with them. And specifically, we played this album, minus 2 songs. We did not play Corrida or Duct Tape, but we played the rest of them. And I learned these tunes in about 16 hours, 15 or 16 hours, grand total. Had a few rough patches at the show, but hey, that's how she goes. So we're going to kick it off with Hugo, and then we'll get into the community tracks, just so you know why I was not available yesterday. That's what I did yesterday. That's my favorite tune that they have on this current record. Very fun tune to play. But yeah, the Bunn. He was whatchamacallit? He was jamming these jams. Where's my OBS? Here we go. Jamming these jams. I'm gonna change my windows around here so I can more easily get back to the chat and all that. There we go. This is going to work way better. All right. So what do we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jams. It's like every month I'm always like, what? There's going to be a month where there's like only 2 or 3 releases from the community. But no, it's always like, 7 or 8 or more, which is pretty great. Whatchamacallit? Riff. That sounds like a fun bass line to riff around with. Yeah, the bass, there was a lot of notes I had to drop. This tune, not so bad, but their original bass player, he kind of just jammed over the whole record. So I'm like, I got to simplify some of this stuff if I'm going to learn 8 tunes in 12 hours. So I kept as many dangly bits as I could, but it definitely got a little bit more simple. There's some stuff you can't change. It just moves around, and it's like some of the notes you just have to hit them. So That's the job. And of course, there were some serious rough patches as a result. But anyhow, enough of that. We're going to get on to... it's Finn Olav. How you doing, brother? Ed Sweetman, just rolling in. Jams, jams, jams. Great. Cool. So we're going to kick off the community jams here with a track from my pal Cairo. He's a super awesome Swede dude, and he makes all kinds of jams, but I haven't actually heard this. He just released this yesterday for Bandcamp Friday, and I've done some of the artwork for some of his previous releases, and he's an awesome guy. So we're going to listen to his track first. This is Sirens from Cairo. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put the gain back up. Oh, and the mouse just died. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to change the batteries in the mouse. Number one. Apologies. This is how you do a pro live stream. Just if anyone's taking notes, this is how you do it. Make sure that the batteries in the mouse are going to die before you start streaming, because then it's like makes you look more like loose and punk. And yeah, it's great. There we go. Connected. All right. And are we good? Are we good? Gain. I'm so good at this. 9.3 is our gain setting for today. If it's too loud, well, it's too loud. Nice work by Cairo. Wow. You know, it's what's been pretty awesome about kind of doing this internet stuff is, you know, I have been able to kind of watch people progress, like a lot of people, and, you know, I guess including myself, but like, some people have started really rough, like Mastro, Lucas from Argentina, or Lucas Mastro, whatever. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but when he started off, his very first things were so rough. And like within 2 years, it was just like amazing. And now his stuff is just so amazing. It's crazy. Cairo didn't start off super rough, but like it's very remarkable like how much his material has improved. In terms of the production, the writing, it's just like more tricky, more interesting. I don't know, all of the cool things. Very awesome. But link is in there. I'm going to queue up the next one. Make sure you get the gain back up there. Scato Roboto. What was it? 9.3? That's what it's going to be today. Quick dip into the comments. We've got Sweetman, gain and mouse is always a great bandless stream. I know, right? It's like definitely entertainment value is high here on the bandless stream with mouse dying and all this cool stuff. Marauder says, sweet. El Paul says, real drums? No, not real drums on the Cairo stuff. Good drum programming. I believe, you know, he used to use tune track drums, but it could be anything now. There's so many good drum packs out there. Ed Sweetman says, great tone. I agree. He's very dialed into his tones. Lamont says, Power Rangers montage commence. Yeah, it actually does have a Power Rangers like action sequence kind of thing. That's hilarious. Tuning, I believe, is B. You know, it's a 7-string Strandberg or 8-string Strandberg. Let me double check that. Strandberg, or 7-string Strandberg. So probably B that he used on this. It sounds like B. I think he got tired. He used to use like Jazzmaster baritones, you know, 30-inch scale and tune to like super low, but he got tired of like the tuning, like the bass, being able to tune the bass low enough to get an octave down. And he got a Dingwall. It was too expensive. And he's like, I don't want to have this. I'd rather buy an expensive guitar than use a chill bass, you know? But anyway, I believe the tuning is B. Moment stretched and framed. How are you? Good to see you in there. And Rough Riff says, Sirens is some fun jams. Yeah, I would say. It was definitely a fun jam. I enjoyed it. Power Rangers action sequence. Rah! And Marauder, that low string is so tight. Yeah, the Strandbergs, it is fanned fret. And they're just exquisitely made. I don't know if you've ever played a Strandberg. I've played a few of them. They just are perfect instruments. I don't know what it is, because the scale length usually on the 7 strings is 27-inch scale. But yeah, Nick Hill, I see you in there. What's going on? Good to see you, man. I hear word. I went and checked your Bandcamp today, and I heard word of a new track from you, but I did not see a new track on the Bandcamp. Maybe since I checked, it's gone up. Let me know in the comments, because if it is, we're going to preview that shiz tonight. Cool. I am now going to go to the next track. And the next track is called Moments, The Pile Up. And this is from Moments Stretched and Framed. I see you there in the comments as well. So, yeah, but I can't tell. Excellent connection. Is it streaming or is it not streaming? Oh. Looks like we are back. Okay. But I don't get a preview now. Back up. Okay. Man. That was frustrating. I don't have an answer as to why it conked out. You know, we typically have pretty good internet here. Clearly not today. Ah, man. Apologies for that, guys. Let's go here. Let's go here. Desktop. Oh, I get that. Okay, great. Pile up. Bam. How's the gain? We're going to do this. 9.3. Okay. Apologies. We're back in action. We're going to get it going. That's going to be I'm going to have to edit out that big dark spot for the rerun. But this here is Moments Stretched and Framed. Tune is called The Pile Up. And here we go. I want to play it all the way through, but I don't. That's really interesting. Wow. Where are you from? What is going on here? I want more information. Adventurous rock music. I would say that's cool stuff. At least, I think so. Everyone's got their own opinion, I suppose, but yeah, this is not for anybody who's joining us for the first time or whatever. The way it works is we listen to samples of tracks from the community. I share the links in the description, and you can follow up with it if you like what you're listening to. And the whole thing is just to see what our friends are doing, what our community is doing, support each other, check it out, get excited. There's usually a lot of good ideas. And for me personally, some really exciting things happening in this track. Very surprised. Rhythmically interesting, compositionally interesting. Like I say, this is not a review. This is my personal experience with this. Wow. Wild. Let's dip into the chat here real quick. So I got jostled there with the whole internet problem, and I didn't switch the camera and da-da-da-da. So the track is called The Pile Up, Moments Stretched in Frame. It is the project, and we're going to see if we can get some more info on that. What do we say? What does it say here? Yeah, no worries. Da-da-da, Le Mans sounds a little bit like John Zorn's Naked City. Yeah, it's kind of got a Naked City, just like emotionally moving, emotional movement, like that. I'm from Quebec. Amazing. Bonjour. Ça va? Tu parles français parce que tu es francophone. Tu es Québécois. I don't speak French very well, but I'm Canadian. I learn French, and some of my family is French. And I come from North Ontario, Ontario du Nord. Et il y a beaucoup de personnes qui parlent français au Sudbury. Sudbury is my hometown. Anyway, there you go. That was great. By the way, Moment Stretch and Frame. You do it all yourself? Raven Boulanger. Artwork, Raven Boulanger. Yeah, you do it all yourself. Okay. Read the description, Scott. Amazing. Really, really stoked on that. Anyhow, we're going to move along here because the internet problems set us back a little bit. So we gotta rock and roll. Did I not bring the gain down? Maybe I did. I don't know. Here we go. We're going to switch cameras, and we're going to be listening to Sunless from Al Paul, his project called False God. And this is a regular feature on the Bandless streams, and always a nice little treat. So I hope you're ready for this. Wow. Incredible, Al Paul. I think you've reached a new level here. Wow. That's an exciting track. That's fun, dude. And like, I feel like you're developing more, like even more of your own style. Like, it's got a little bit of that Thal thing in it, but like, it's sounding even more unique, which is always such a hard thing to do. But like, you know, the goal, right? That's great stuff, man. Wow. What a fun track. Anyway, okay. We're moving along here. That was crazy. Got really severely crushed there. That was a good time. So moving along here, I'm gonna I got another one to queue up actually. I got some news. Bear with me as I type. My data entry skills are not fantastic. So, Nick Hill, I'm looking for a track here. What profile is it on? Maybe help me out here. Is it on the Nick Hill? Nick Hill. There we go. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything anywhere. Anyway, we'll get word from the Nick Hill. We're going to move on to the next jam. This next one is also pretty awesome. Did I put the link in there? I just got to make sure. Yeah, I did. Great. Just dipping into the chat here real quick. I want this played at my funeral. Marauder music. Heavy is not enough to describe this. Head is moving. Yeah. Rick is saying. Yeah, it was great. El Paul, man, you got a gem there. That's a great track. Rough Riff sounds like a banging soundtrack to a boomer shooter type game. Oh yeah, totally. Street Rat is like pumping it. Moments, stretch and frame, so much energy. I love it. Nick Mazarez. By the way, hello, Rick. I did not say hello to you yet. The mix is slightly pumpy too, but in a good way. Yeah, it's like slamming. I always try in my mixes and masters to get that feeling when you're at a show and the PA, like a big PA, there's like a thing that a big PA does. And I think it's just the limiters are pumping. But it sounds so crushing. Like so many times, like live shows are just so crushing. And then you go and you buy the record and you're like, oh, that, you know, the record's not as heavy as the live show. But I think it's just that. But anyhow, Marauder, I want a full CD of that. Yeah, to go to bed to, right? Just before bed, you put on False God jams, and you're like, yeah, just to unwind here. And Nick Hill, Detra Cortina. So Nick Hill, I was just there, and there was no new track. Unless, like, is it discarded? Because that was put up in September. I don't know. I'll refresh it again. Give me some information. Refresh. Nothing. I don't know. Give me the news. I'm pretty sure I played discarded. Anyhow, we'll sort that out. We're moving on to the next Jamborone here. And this one is coming to us from our pal Gary Heibner. And it's really rad to see Gary pumping out some jams lately. For the longest time, he was only doing like little tracks and whatnot, like little clips for his YouTube channel for demos and stuff like that. But lately he's been finishing complete songs and releasing them, which is fantastic. His YouTube channel, by the way, is Heavy Tones. We can open that up if you're interested. That gives you an idea. I'll drop his YouTube link in there. Bam. So that's his YouTube channel. But we're going to listen to his track. Bam. And yeah, so as I was saying, it's been rad to see him finishing tracks, because one of the things that is a problem with all, or a problem for all of us who do YouTube in any capacity, is that at some point you kind of have to pick what your focus is. Is your focus going to be YouTube or music? Because you can be one of two things. You can be a YouTuber who fools around with music, or you can be a full-time music person, like a musician, writer, composer, whatever, who fools around with YouTube. And I've been struggling with that massively for the last couple months, if anyone hasn't noticed. And, you know, I've been, yeah, anyway, I'm not going to get too into it, but that is the struggle. So Gary has been finishing more tracks, which is fantastic. And he's a talented guy. So let's listen to it. You're like, Bunn, just play the track, okay? Yeah, Gary. Gary's down with that new metal sound. He likes a lot of those kinds of bands, and he's, you know, trying to kind of bring a new flavor, a new vibe to that world. And I think he's succeeding. You know, he's incorporating the super low kind of stuff into it. And he does he's everything, by the way. He does the vocals, he does all of it. Drums are programmed, but they're programmed well. I think most of us program our drums these days. I don't know. How about you? Who plays their own drums these days when it comes to producing on your own? Very few people. Some people are a hero, though, and they figure out how to do it. That was a great little jam from Gary. Good job, Gary. Nice to see you making jams. Nick Hill, we got your track. Finally. Technical difficulties. Everybody's having technical difficulties today. It's a good time. So what's going on here in the chat? Marauder Music, that tone. Yeah, good tones. Wall of guitars and bass, and it's all really tight. Yeah. Nick Hill, tip of the hat to all who do vocals. I'm too much of a wimp to try, which is interesting. So everybody, you know, guys, we got to get Nick Hill amped up, because I've heard some of his singing and he sings perfectly good, like better than you would imagine, because he doesn't flaunt himself as a singer. So you would imagine it's like, oh, you know, it's probably just okay. Like, he's a pretty friggin' decent singer, better than a lot of people who do sing. So yeah, you should probably sing if you want to. And Rough Riffs, Gary putting out another solid jam. Yeah, I can't believe it. Marauder Clean Break is good. That'd be a fun live energy. Rick says, cool, dig the tones. Ed Sweetman says, I'm so glad it's not a metal version of the jazz standard Autumn Leaves. That's what I was expecting. And I'm glad it isn't, because I have my own ideas of how that should go. And I think there's some amazing opportunities there to do a heavy version of Autumn Leaves, but it would have to be very harmonically and dynamically special in order to do it that way. You wouldn't be able to do it in a cheap way. Well, you could do it in a cheap way, but it would be cheap. So yeah, I was expecting Autumn Leaves, the famous jazz standard, as Ed points out, but I was happy that it wasn't, because it doesn't need to be held to a standard, because there's lots of terrible versions of Autumn Leaves in the world, in every form of music. So yeah. Anyhow, gain is back up to 9.3, and we got another track queued up here. This one's coming from Tanner Borglum, and this one's called The Shade by Tanner Borglum. Tanner is a longtime, member of the community, and Tanner came to Toronto with his partner a little while back, and we hung out. We had pizza. We had Detroit-style pizza. We went and toured around the parks of the campus of University of Toronto, which is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful campus. And we took some photos, did some film photography. It was pretty awesome. But Tanner's got a hot jam for us. We're going to check it out here. Tanner likes to do things his own way, which we like very much around these parts. So here we go. Tanner stuff, always very harmonically interesting. And I think I would like to see more of that in the world. Very cool. Very, very cool, particularly in the harmony. And when I say harmony, I mean it from like a academic music perspective, like not harmonies, like not intentional harmonies against each other. I mean like the overall harmonic composition. And yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I'd like to work with you one day, just to kind of get a sense of like how you think about it, like kind of watch you work in a way. But yeah, very cool. Let's get to the C920. The C920 is my big camera. I was using a GoPro for a bit, but unfortunately, it overheats and shuts off after about an hour. So yeah, no more GoPro for live streaming. If you use it just for regular filming, you can it'll go until the battery runs out. But if it's live streaming, no dice. Anyway, queuing it up here just so that we can be on our way with jams. But I want to go back to the chat here. Marauder, complex that beat, yes, for Tanner's jam. So much happening. Yeah, so much happening harmonically and rhythmically. Moments stretched and framed. Love the mixture of clean drones and distorted sounds. Yeah, the layering is very cool. Nikhil, quite a journey. Yes, it's definitely a journey. It feels like kind of cinematically like there is an actual journey happening. The melodic blossom that carried across the sound field was awesome. Yeah. Ed Sweetman loves the use of space. I think it handed off. Amazing concept. Yeah. Very interesting, kind of like dancing around a motif. Yeah, it definitely, it's interesting that you say that, Rick, because I never really thought about that. But yeah, it's kind of like almost as though harmonically that it's eluding something, like it's constantly calling to something that it never really goes to, which is maybe what kind of keeps you like, what happens next, why that kind of triggers that. I don't know. Interesting. Rough riffs. Thanks, all rough riffs. Yeah, the motif is present in some form pretty much throughout the entire piece. Interesting. Yeah, very cool. We are moving along here to another member of the community. They're all members of the community. To be honest, like if you live on Earth, we're all part of the same community because Earth is pretty friggin' small in terms of the universe. And like it is infinitesimally small compared to the universe. So we're all neighbors and community members of some kind. So I hope everyone is doing well. Here we go. Desktop, bottom right. We got Oscar Quick. Cool guy. A very ambitious young fellow. Works with a producer. Not completely. So this is a solo project, but he works with production help. But, he writes and plays pretty much everything. There's some additional vocals on some of these tracks. Drums by Nathan Morris. So he's using a real drummer. I think it's real drums. We'll see. The track we are playing is Skinhead in a Dress. Here we go. I actually dig the minimalism there. Something interesting. So not a real drummer, but I guess programmed by Nathan Morris. Yeah, something comes to mind. And there's another English project. I don't know if I'm using the correct terminology. Like English might mean a specific area of the UK. I don't know these things, but there is a project from that area of the world that has kind of like a pensive kind of spoken delivery with minimalist. It's also minimalist. It's done a different way, but just interesting that there's, I think there's something about this region of the world where we have these sorts of things going on. There's an influence to do it. But yeah, kind of cool. Like I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I don't have really the right words right now. But what are you guys saying? Sound art. I can appreciate it. Yes. Maybe that's just it. It's just like creative and expressive. And yeah, something unsettling about it. Yeah, it has a texture. Like an emotional texture, a story texture. Very, very interesting. Very edgy and outer limits. Marauder Music says, sounds like AI made it. I mean that in a good way. That's interesting that kind of terminology has moved into our lexicon now, and we all kind of know what you're talking about when you make a reference like that. That's interesting. Anyhow, we're moving on. Big camera time. And did I put it in there? I might not have. Tanner Borglum. But here we go. We got a link for all to, all the tracks are different. That's not what the other tracks. I think we've played a track here before, but he submitted this one for today. So I am moving on. What do we got next? We got a banger coming up next here. Moment, Stretch and Frame. I'm gonna listen to the full track after. I want to see how it evolves. Yeah. you're like, how does it end? There are certain tracks that really kind of grab me also that way. Like there'll be something about how it unfolds or something in the fabric of it where I'm like, I have to listen all the way. I need to know. Like if you just shut it off halfway, I'm like, Anyway, I'm going to move on here to the little camera, and we're hanging out with Marauder Music. No stranger to the streams. This one is called Quarantine, and it is a George Lynch cover. And from what I understand, it's a track that George Lynch kind of was using at some point, in part, like not in its complete state, for demonstration purposes, because he's like this awesome shredding guitar player. But Marauder has kind of like completed the track in his own kind of way, his own version. So I'm very stoked to check it out. Those of you who do not know who George Lynch is, he was a early, like mid 80s kind of, very technical facility kind of guitar player, very expressive player, a lot of bending and all that kind of stuff for the shred-tasticness. So that's cool. Here we go. Gain. Before we play anything, put the gain back up, Scotto. Here we go. Whoa. amazing. Our man, this is the Cause Man behind Marauder Music, and the Cause Man, he covers a lot of ground musically. He is not afraid whatsoever to do like just like simple and crushing kinds of tunes, but he's also like totally not afraid to just like shred his face off. And it's totally awesome. Like, I don't know. I've been hanging out with a buddy recently, a little bit more, like sitting around playing guitars with my buddy Anthony. And he just lives up the street, and he's got some amazing guitars and amazing amps. So it's like good fun to just sit there and like pick guitars off the wall and just try and shred. I can't really shred at all. I got a few legato moves and that's about it. But he can really shred, and it's all good fun. So when I hear this, I think of that, and I also I want to shred. I want to learn more. I've been practicing a lot. Totally awesome. Super fun. Back to big camera. Resetting the gain here. And excellent work, Mr. Cosman, Mr. Marauder. And I was going to end on this jam, but we'll do the second last because we got a last minute entrant. But this here is from the much anticipated Norwal project. There's been quite a few streams where it's like I thought there was going to be a new Norwal track, and then there wasn't. This is my pal Ed Sweetman, originally from the Great White North of Ontario, Canada. We kind of spent some time in the same city, and he was actually my very first recording client ever. When I was like, I don't know, barely 20. I was maybe like 21 or something. I don't know. I was young. He was younger. He was a teenager. But anyhow, he started making his own jams, and they're really interesting. He's a very artistic dude. He makes his own basses as well, 5-string. He'll make any bass, but he made some pretty amazing 5-string basses. But we're gonna play his track. Gain is reset. This one's called "I Make Good Choices." I don't know. Is that like self-deprecating? Is that a message to somebody else? What's the story behind this track, Ed? I'd love to know. It is inspired by a child purchases their first toy with their own money. The joy and excitement build, only to find out at the end that the toy is complete garbage and goes into the trash. I can relate to this like so hard. Like even thinking about adult toy purchases with like guitars. You know, if I get this guitar or this amp, it's going to change my life. Everything's going to be so much better. And then it isn't. So funny. Here we go. Nice. Cool. Very cool. This is one of those I'm like, how does it end? I really want to know how it ends. Excellent track. So this is his third track he ever wrote and composed and recorded totally by himself. If anyone is interested in that part of the story, a little bit of the backstory is written here. Norwell is a project that one person can do with one 6-string bass and program MIDI drums. Right, that's a important part of the story, is that all of the musical, all of the stringed instrument stuff is all just one instrument. And is your bass a fretted bass or is it fretless? I can't remember. But all music composed, performed, MIDI programmed, and artworks by Mr. Edward Sweetman. And I love it, dude. I just love that you're doing this. It's amazing. Super fun. Getting back here. Going to change to the big camera time. Am I sitting too low? Am I slouching? I'm slouching. Slouching is cool, though. You know, that's all the kids are doing it these days. Let's get going here to Tetra Cortina. And then we're going to hang out in the chat. And you know, talk further about these jams and party. And then I'm going to hang out with my pal Artie. And yeah, it's going to be a good time. Here we go. That's hot bottom right. Tetra Cortina. And it means behind the curtain. Like what is revealed behind the curtain. Tetra Cortina. Brand new track from the Nick Hill. For those of you who do not know the Nick Hill, whoa, big burpatonics. Let's go to the YouTubes. And let's go, Nick Hill makes music. Comes up right away. Oh. Weird. That's weird. Unwatched. Watched. Huh? Did your channel go down, Nick? Oh, weird. Let's do it this way. Here we go. That was weird. It's concerning. Anyway, Control C, and I'm gonna just put that in there. So Mr. Nick Hill, for those of you who don't know, he does a YouTube channel as well, and he struggles with the same thing I was talking about earlier. It's like, what do you focus on? Do you focus on making videos all the time, or do you focus on making music? Because making both of them take an incredible amount of time and mental bandwidth. And we all just want to make music. That's the truth. But anyway, so this is what Nick Hill does. And Nick Hill and I started the Bandless channel together. And we'll probably do some more streams together. My dream is always to, like, in the winter, bring back our conversation streams. I don't know, time, life permitting. But this is a brand new track by Nick Hill's project, Tetra Cortina. And the tune is called Proxima Vez. And do I have I just need to make sure that the gain's up. Gain's up. Okay, great. Here we go. Excellent work, Mr. Nick Hill, of course. Your production is always great. Whoa, did we just get two jams playing at the same time there? Whatchamacallit? Bam. Yeah, awesome. Whatchamacallit? Love the cleans. Production is cool as always. Yeah, Nick Hill's production is killer. Big camera time. And I put the Norwal. What did I do? I put the Norwal link in there. There we go. And the Proxima Vez link is here. Bam, bam. And there we go. Great. Everything's in there. Amazing. So follow up with any artists that you found particularly interesting to you personally. And like I say, even if you can't buy the track, follow the artist, which is like right here. And whatchamacallit? It's hard to see, but right there. And then you can also send people a message. You know, there's, I can't remember the way to do it here, but usually there's like a link or whatever, a means by which to kind of click through and contact the artist and be like, hey man, I dig your tunes. Always nice, you know. Whenever I get messages about that kind of stuff, sometimes it's worth more than $100, you know. And trust me, sometimes people do send you $100 for a track, which is nice. It is very nice because Bandcamp has that like pay more if you like type of function. But yeah, you know, try and click through and discover more and reach out to artists if you like them. And not just these artists, any artists that you like. The world that we live in is ultra connected, and people like hearing from people who like similar things to them. And usually one of the interesting things about music is it's like this cultural binder. And if we like something about a particular kind of music, usually that means that we have something in common, whether it be, you know, from the listener to the artist, or the artist to the listener, or just two listeners or two artists, whatever the case may be. But yeah, music is a cultural binder that brings us together, hopefully brings us together. Anyway, in the chat right now, I'm just going to hang out in the chat for a bit here. And bam, 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 bam. Going back, I didn't do hang out in the chat for Ed's track. El Paul says nice bass tone. Marauder says total. Where is this going? Making fun of my Ed says he's making fun of his kids on this track. Yeah, I think it's funny. And yeah, Moment Stretch and Frame says this is awesome, taking me on a journey here. Marauder Music says at first I had a drink with an umbrella in it. Then Dancing Gorillas showed up with Jaeger body shots. Amazing. This bass is fretted, he says. So cool. But I think Ed's so good he can play with no frets, or with frets in the wrong places. Ed studied music in school and practiced a lot, so his facility is quite high. But that was unbelievable. Yeah, very, very cool. Nick Hill, Helix Tones Crusher. He totally is. So we're talking about oh yeah, the Norwal link. Yeah, I had copied it, but I didn't drop it in I dropped it in later, so it's in there later. But Nick Hill with his tones. Nick Hill gets good tones out of anything. Could be doesn't matter what it is. He's a tone master. He's got good ears. It doesn't matter if it's a Helix, a real amp, a Pod HD Pro, whatever. Nick will get the tones. I remember hearing a track from Nick Hill, and he used the Emissary free plugin, VST plugin, and it sounded phenomenal. So that plugin does sound good. But yeah, Nick Hill, what Nick Hill has, he has ears, really good ears. And Nick is saying that he's definitely making music more of the priority. Yeah, I'm hearing you. It's like, that's the thing that's most important to us. So we are music people, music artists who dabble in YouTube, not YouTubers who dabble in music. And I think it's an important distinction. Got to get that NH clean preset. Classic NH. Yeah, Nick Hill, you got some really good what do you call it, feels on this track. Yeah, it might be my favorite one yet. Not sure. It's definitely up there. I'll have to go back through the catalog, but it's one of the strongest. It's so much more dynamic than usual, and I love that. Always appreciate. So cool to have a signature sound. Yeah, it's all we can ask, like all we can wish for. Having your own sound is really hard. Your own sound, like sound wise, but your own sound playing wise. Very difficult to develop those things to the point where they're recognizable. So when you do, it's a huge win. Thomas Powell, ayo, how you doing, man? Good to see you. How's that Dan Electro baritone going? Where's those tones at, Thomas? Thomas Powell used to live in Toronto, and he and I both had Mashocks. Like, we were some of the first guys in Toronto to have Mashocks. And we kind of came to know each other because he had a Mashock. We were in the same scene, kind of, but what really bound us together was that we both had Mike Mashock baritones. And only because it was one of the few baritones over 27 inches in scale that came stock with humbuckers at that time. Because when that very first came out, it was ESPs. They were all 27 inches. And then there was like the, what do you call it? The Gretches, but those had mini hums, and it was hard to get past the Bigsby. I eventually did. It's a phenomenal guitar, but you kind of want it just a basic guitar. I don't know. I just want a basic guitar. Basic guitar, like black, white, or wood color, just basic, and humbuckers and long scale, please, and a really good, able to be set up really good. Anyhow, Thomas and I, we know each other that way. But good to see you in the stream, Mr. Thomas. Hope you're well. I've been looking at Instagram images of your bunny. It's a very cute bunny. And whatchamacallit, stream. If you guys are interested, perhaps I'll go through the mix on a stream tonight. Ayo, Marauder would definitely be a cool hang, Nick. Yeah, you should totally stream tonight, Nick. Kind of like, we'll just go from this stream to your stream. Get it going. Get it going now. And can just, because I'm going to dump off here in a second, in a couple minutes, because I got a lot to do. And yeah, keep the party going. Al Paul would like to see how you go about your mixing. And I think also maybe talking about your drums, like how you get where your drum sounds come from, how you get them, like, you know, in terms of reverb and stuff like that, and then how you actually place them in the mix. Because I think a big part of your mixes is like how the rest of the instruments fit around your drums, and everything has its own space. So like your mixes are never crowded, but they are thick and they are a wall of sound. So yeah, let us know. Let us know how you do it. Ed Sweetman, I'm so in the dark with production, learning more all the time though. Yeah, I think it never ends. I think if you think you got it all figured out, then that's where you fail. But yeah, learning all the time is good. And the cool thing about production is you can just pick it up in little wee snippets, right? You can just learn a little bit here and there. I would say a very important thing to learn about is like, what are compressors and limiters and how do they really work? What is it? A lot of people have a really hard time being able to hear a compressor because it controls the dynamics. It can have effect on the frequency spectrum as well, coloration, but it's more coloration than it is just like straight up EQ. But compressors and limiters are like super important, and knowing how they work is like your biggest benefit, especially for bass guitar. Bass guitar, as not bass maybe so much as a lead instrument as you're using it, Ed Sweetman, but bass as the bass instrument in its traditional role, compression and limiting in terms of like getting a great mix and everything to sort of sit right and be able to stack your mix appropriately, being able to control your bass a lot is highly recommended, and you do that through a series of compressors and limiters, as well as playing it super evenly. That helps. If you do that first, it makes everything easier. But Moments Stretched and Framed reminded me a bit of the Agonist. Definitely a good thing in my book. Cool. Ed Sweetman, I also have a fretless bass I built. I thought so. Yeah. You know, there's so much information in here. I only can permanently store so much. Nikhil, thanks again, guys, for all the kind words. Yeah, no worries, man. Nice to see a homie crushing it. Cave Riffs rock. Nikhil, yeah, didn't you have 2 Mashocks, Nikhil? I'm pretty sure you did. I'll get set up. Yeah, get it set up. Thomas Powell, I have Sick Tones coming out soon, I promise. I hope so, Nikhil. I hope so, Thomas Powell. It's been way too long, and I know you got the skills. I know you got the creativity brimming, ready to overflow. So get her going. Nikhil, them COVID hard times. Yeah. Anyhow, I'm gonna shut her down for the evening. I have no new tunes to stream today. I am working on all my final recordings. I'm still in the process of rewriting all of my tracks for my EP. Not rewriting, but like, you know, adding bits, changing bits. Nothing major, but yeah, doing it methodically. Anyhow, I am cutting out for the evening. It's been a super fun one. Sorry about the weird internet dropout. I almost wanted to barf when it was happening. Thankfully it came back and I didn't have to stream again or whatever. But we're going to do it again on the next Bandcamp Friday, first Friday of September. For those who have just joined us recently, this happens every Bandcamp Friday, which is the first Friday of every month, except for July. But July, it's a different thing. But yeah, I'll see you then. Get your tracks ready, and I'm stoked to stream them and just see what you're doing. And so is everybody else. Everyone's like jazzed to kind of make stuff, make and share. So I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you next month. Have a super good night. And Nick Hill is streaming right now or in a couple minutes, so go over to his channel, and I'll put his link in there one more time. Where is that? Here we go. Go over, visit Nick Hill, and he's going to be talking about his mixing and all that kind of stuff, and he's got some serious wisdom when it comes to making stuff sound good. So yeah, that's it for me. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next month.